This is Maya. At 13 years old, she knew more about survival than most adults know about living. Born into a world that had already decided she didn't matter, Maya spent her nights sleeping in doorways and her days searching for something everyone else took for granted, a chance to learn. She had never owned a textbook, never sat at a school desk, never raised her hand to answer a question. But what she discovered under an oak tree at the most exclusive private school in the city would change two lives forever. When billionaire tech mogul James Morrison caught this homeless girl teaching his struggling daughter advanced mathematics, his reaction shocked everyone who witnessed it. So settle in, because what you're about to hear will challenge everything you think you know about worth, wisdom, and what it truly means to be educated. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button because stories like this one will change how you see the world. The morning sun barely touched the sidewalk when Maya jolted awake to the sound of police sirens. She pressed herself deeper into the narrow alley between two office buildings, clutching the torn backpack that held everything she owned. 3 books with water-damaged pages, a pencil worn down to its stub, and a notebook she'd found in a dumpster behind the university. "Move along, kid," Officer Martinez had said just yesterday, not unkindly but firm. "This isn't a place to camp." Maya had nodded and walked to the next block, then the next, always moving, always invisible. Her stomach twisted with hunger, but she ignored it. Hunger was background noise now, like traffic or distant music. What consumed her thoughts was the equation she'd been working on, scribbled in the margins of her salvaged notebook. She'd overheard a college student explaining calculus derivatives to his friend 3 days ago, and the concept had been spinning in her mind ever since. Maya had no idea who her father was. Her mother, Sarah, had died of pneumonia when Maya was 9, leaving behind only a shoebox of unpaid bills, and a daughter who suddenly became the state's problem. 4 foster homes later, Maya learned that running away was easier than explaining why she couldn't stop asking questions about everything. The physics of why soap bubbles were round, the mathematics behind music scales, the chemistry of how plants made food from sunlight. Smart-mouth kids don't last long in the system, her last foster father had sneered before she slipped out his window one cold February night. That was 2 years ago. Now Maya survived by being useful and invisible. She organized recycling for busy office workers in exchange for their lunch leftovers. She helped elderly Mrs. Chen carry groceries upstairs for a warm meal once a week. And every Tuesday morning, she positioned herself outside Riverside Academy, the city's most prestigious private school, just to listen. The school sat behind wrought iron gates like a castle, all red brick and climbing ivy. Students arrived in luxury cars, wearing uniforms that probably cost more than most people made in a month. Maya had discovered that if she stood at just the right angle by the maintenance entrance, she could hear the mathematics lectures drifting from the open windows of the second-floor classroom. Today was Tuesday. Maya checked her reflection in a puddle, smoothed down her tangled hair, and made her way to her usual listening spot. She pulled out her notebook and pencil, ready to capture whatever knowledge floated her way. But when she arrived, something was different. One of the students, a girl about her age with perfectly braided hair and a navy blazer, was sitting alone under the oak tree in the courtyard, crying over an open textbook. Maya froze. Students never came this close to the fence. This girl was close enough that Maya could see the tears splashing onto the pages of what looked like an advanced algebra book. Without thinking, Maya stepped closer to the fence. "The problem isn't wrong," Maya called out softly. "You're just approaching it from the hard direction." The girl looked up, startled. Her eyes were red from crying, her uniform perfect except for the wet spots on her blazer. "Excuse me?" Maya pointed through the fence at the textbook. "Quadratic equations. You're trying to factor when you should complete the square. That's why you're stuck." The girl, Maya could see her name tag read Emma Morrison, stared at her in disbelief. "How could you possibly know that?" "You can't even see my work from there." "I can see your eraser marks," Maya said simply, "and I heard you muttering the problem. You keep trying the same method over and over. Sometimes you have to try a completely different path." Emma glanced around nervously, then moved closer to the fence. Are you homeless?" Maya's cheeks burned, but she lifted her chin. Does that make me wrong about the math? Emma studied her for a long moment, then did something that surprised them both. She pushed her textbook through the fence. Show me. Maya's hands trembled as she took the pristine textbook. She'd never held anything so perfect, so untorn and clean. She found a patch of dirt and began sketching the equation with a stick. Talking through each step, see, when you complete the square, you're basically making the equation confess its secrets instead of trying to force it, Maya explained, her voice growing stronger as she lost herself in the beauty of the mathematics. It wants to be solved. You just have to speak its language. Emma watched, mesmerized, as Maya transformed the impossible problem into elegant simplicity. When Maya finished, Emma grabbed her own pencil and worked through the method in her notebook. Oh my God, she whispered. It actually works. It's beautiful. Maya smiled, the first genuine smile she'd had in months. Math is always beautiful when you understand it. I'm Emma, the girl said, extending her hand through the fence. Maya, she replied, shaking it awkwardly through the iron bars. Maya, would you meet me here tomorrow? I have this test on Friday, and I don't think I can pass it without help. My tutor costs $200 an hour and he can't explain things the way you just did. Maya's heart pounded. You want me to help you? Only if you want to, Emma said quickly. I could bring you lunch, and maybe some books you might like. For the first time in years, Maya felt something she'd almost forgotten existed. Hope. Tomorrow, she whispered. Same time. The next day, Emma arrived with a paper bag full of sandwiches and a calculus textbook she'd borrowed from her older brother. Maya had spent the entire night thinking about their meeting, barely sleeping from excitement. They settled into an easy rhythm. Emma would work through problems while Maya guided her, sharing tricks and shortcuts she'd picked up from years of teaching herself. Maya discovered that Emma wasn't stupid at all. She was just learning in a system that never bothered to find out how her mind worked best. You're not broken, Maya told her during their third meeting, watching Emma solve a problem that had stumped her for weeks. Your brain just thinks in pictures, not numbers. That's why you understand it when I draw it out. Emma looked up from her notebook, her eyes bright. No one's ever told me that before. Everyone just says I need to try harder or focus more. Over the following weeks, Emma's grades began to improve dramatically. She started raising her hand in class, no longer afraid of being wrong. Her confidence bloomed like a flower after rain, and Maya felt proud in a way she'd never experienced before. But Emma gave Maya something even more valuable. She brought books. Advanced physics, chemistry, literature, history. Books Maya devoured like a person dying of thirst. Emma would smuggle them through the fence and Maya would read them cover to cover before their next meeting, ready to discuss everything she'd learned. How do you remember all of this? Emma asked one afternoon, amazed as Maya quoted entire passages from a philosophy book she'd only had for 2 days. When you've been hungry for knowledge your whole life, Maya said, you don't waste a single bite. They'd been meeting for almost a month when Emma made a confession that changed everything. Maya, I have to tell you something, Emma said, her voice nervous. My father, he owns this school. He's James Morrison, you know, the tech billionaire? Maya's stomach dropped. She'd heard of James Morrison. Everyone had. He was worth billions, owned half the tech companies in the city, and was known for his ruthless business practices. Why are you telling me this? Because, Emma said, tears forming in her eyes. He's been asking questions about why I'm suddenly doing so well in math, and I don't know what to tell him. I don't want him to stop me from seeing you, but I can't lie to him anymore. Maya felt the familiar panic of loss creeping up her throat. Every good thing in her life eventually got taken away. It's okay, she whispered, though it wasn't. I understand. No, you don't understand, Emma said fiercely. I won't let him take this away. That afternoon, Emma didn't show up at their usual time. Maya waited by the fence until the sun began to set, fear gnawing at her stomach. When she finally saw Emma running across the courtyard, she wasn't alone. A tall man in an expensive suit walked beside her, his face unreadable. Even from a distance, Maya could see the power in his stride, the way he commanded space just by existing. This was James Morrison, and he was coming straight toward her. Maya's instinct screamed at her to run, but something in Emma's expression made her stay. The girl looked determined, not defeated. "Dad," Emma said breathlessly as they reached the fence. "This is Maya. Maya, this is my father." James Morrison stood silent for a long moment, studying Maya with eyes that seemed to see everything. Maya forced herself to meet his gaze, even though her knees were shaking. "So you're the one who's been teaching my daughter mathematics," he said finally. His voice was deep, measured, giving nothing away. Maya lifted her chin. "Yes, sir. Emma tells me you've never been to school." "Not exactly, sir. I listen sometimes, and I read whatever I can find." "Where do you live?" Maya hesitated, glancing at Emma. "Different places, sir." James Morrison nodded slowly, as if this confirmed something he'd already suspected. Then he did something that shocked both girls completely. He smiled. "Emma showed me her test scores," he said. "Not just the recent ones. I pulled her records from the beginning of the year. Would you like to know what I found?" Maya wasn't sure she wanted to know, but she nodded anyway. "Her math grades have improved by 40% since you started tutoring her. More importantly, her confidence has transformed. She's participating in class, asking questions, even helping other students." He paused, his expression growing serious. "Do you know what I spent $15,000 on last semester?" "No, sir. Professional tutors. The best money could buy. None of them accomplished in 3 months what you did in 3 weeks." He stepped closer to the fence. "Maya, how would you feel about coming home with us tonight? Emma's been asking for a study partner, and I think we have a lot to discuss about your future." Maya's legs nearly gave out. "Sir, I'm not talking about charity," James said firmly. "I'm talking about investing in exceptional potential. Emma needs a friend who challenges her, and you need resources that match your intellect." Emma grabbed Maya's hand through the fence. "Say yes," she whispered. "Please say yes." Maya looked at this man who had every reason to see her as a threat. Instead, he was offering her something she'd never dared dream of, a chance to belong somewhere. "Yes," she whispered. Then stronger. "Yes, sir." The next morning, Maya put on a new uniform. For the first time, she didn't walk to the school gates. She walked through them. She wasn't looking in from the outside anymore. She was home. Sometimes the greatest teachers come from the most unexpected places, and sometimes the most powerful people are those wise enough to recognize brilliance wherever they find it. We hope this story touched your heart and opened your mind to new possibilities. What did you think about James Morrison's reaction? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And if this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because we have more incredible stories of hope and transformation coming your way. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. Thank you for watching, and remember, every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Choose kindness. Choose to see potential. Choose to make a difference.